I was very thin and frail physically. When my father would assault me, my body would become frozen with fear. I couldn't move on days when I would be standing in front of him and he would be cursing me. I would notice the color of his face turn from a pasty white to a scarlet red. He would deliberately work himself up into a state of violent, explosive frenzy. With my three younger brothers, as time passed, I tried to steer clear of each of them. During whatever time of day, I would and could be overwhelmed and attacked with feelings of insane rage.
It was involuntary. I'm guessing it was a reaction to being hit by my father. It would just come over me all of a sudden without warning. I was a danger to my brothers. I would begin calling them hateful names. This wasn't me. I needed to stay away from all three of them altogether. I never physically assaulted any of the three. This was the best that I could do towards any of them, to be nonviolent and not to ruin the time of their sacred childhood and their young lives. In my family life and at school, I grew to be more alone and withdrawn. I felt this was the only way I could survive what was being done to me. From watching TV shows, I knew I would eventually grow up and have a life that I could live and experience without getting beat up most every day. When I would fantasize about such a life, I would be married to a young, pretty woman. I would imagine how different scenarios would play out between us. There were never any children in my imaginings, yet I felt I had learned how not to treat a child if I was around one, not to beat it, not to curse it, not to act like a demented, crazed lunatic towards the child, or anyone else, for that matter. As a kid, I used to play wrestling for several years with my younger brothers. We would mimic the wrestlers we saw on TV, Johnny Valentine, The Crusher, Bruno, and others. We had a lot of fun goofing around, growling, snarling, and pretending that we were throwing each other around. We used to watch wrestling on TV early Saturday evenings. One time, I was alone in the living room, sitting on the floor in front of the TV watching wrestling. My father came in and sat down in a chair behind me. I was glued to the TV set. For the next 1/2 hour, I would hear him going on non-stop. Heh, 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 it's fake, it's not real. I remember thinking to myself that if this is what you think, then why are you staying in here watching it? He just kept going on and on. Heh, heh, heh. They're fake. I blocked out his behavior and what he was saying. He was my father. I could not possibly believe he was saying this to spoil the show for me. I still believed in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny until I was in the 6th grade. When I would be alone crying after one of my father's beatings, I would imagine experiencing romantic love with a young woman TV character. There would never be any kissing or touching. There would always be some imagined drama that kept us apart. When I was in the 6th grade, I was 11 years old. One evening, both my mother and father were angry at me. I was standing in the back corner of the dining room by the closet. My father was standing several feet away, cursing me. My mother was nearer to me than he was. As my father stepped towards me to hit me, my mother launched herself at me. She got there first. The two of them slapped and cursed me. I fell to the floor, screaming and crying, and just believed that my mother was attacking me and was now a participant in the beatings too. I thought to myself, how could things get any worse? It was from that beating on that my mother tagged me with additional names. According to her, I was now a as devil kid and also a sickening kid. During all the years from then, I was 4 through the age of 17. Then I screamed and cried, terrified for my life. There was never any acknowledgement or anyone who came to the front door of our household to register a protest against what was being done to me. There was never even a mention or an expression of sympathy from any of my next door neighbors. It was up to only me to deal with this and to attempt to hold on to whatever vestige of sanity that still remained or was still a part of my spirit. I continued attending Catholic grade school up to and including in 8th grade. I can't think of the day or grade when I did not experience being in school as a safe haven and refuge from what I was experiencing in my home life. I was an A and B student with outstanding conduct reports. My grade school teachers, 2 laywomen and 7 nuns, though from a distance, showed care and concern towards me in a way of emotional warmth and of guiding my spirit towards a higher good and a rejection of spiritual insanity and evil that was within my home life. I welcomed their strict discipline and code of conduct within their classrooms. My present day, I seek to ask the right questions about the life that I am living, about my innermost thoughts and why I feel the way I do. Can I be devoid of evil to be worthy of a shared intimacy of spirit and inner light with my fellow man and woman? I must not be fearful of improvement and effort. I can't let myself regress back to shame and humiliation, not to be preyed upon from within by hidden shadows of my past. There is a reality of an inner sickness within my soul. My biological father in his creation of his own evolution of sin and predatory hate. I was only a child and a young adult. I had no power, no strength, and no defenses. Worse, I was demonized and blamed for the behaviors of my father and my mother. I was told by her in my later years that it was my fault. You got what you deserved. You asked for it. Presently, there is hope for both healing and a new beginning. If only I can experience a repair from within in a way of either a higher good or of a brighter light to share an experience with others. At the very least, the spiritual sanity I can aspire to is to try not to blame someone or some incident for the depression and self-inflicted misery I sometimes experience throughout my day. There is a living soul somewhere inside me. A journey of spiritual growth requires inner courage, initiative, thought, and an attempt to practice a willful inner act of creative imagination. One of being. I can't carry anyone there, nor can anyone carry me there. The effort must be my own to perceive a reality of inner beauty and light. Through thought and inspiration, I am learning to live inside myself. I ask myself, is a beauty of feeling an inspiration to love? The word is love, yet alone its emotion is so alien to me. I wish for a courage to practice openly what I think are higher spiritual truths. Only in the act of trying and making an attempt, something within me briefly becomes alive. I seek to travel across the bridge and through a passageway to light and innermost being. There is an inner landscape of thought and feeling. I can color some of my feelings with a bright cheer of being. I can make the inner efforts of my attempts to live be meaningful to me. I can reject and negate the bad experiences of my past by not letting them dominate, dictate, or pull me downwards into a spiral of a lower descent of thought, feeling, and being. In spite of many bleak days of my own making, by being my own worst enemy, I have persevered. I haven't surrendered by giving into a reluctance to make a willful effort. I need to continue to try to learn and practice a creative art of living. In my past adult life, I believed that there were no miracles. Today I know different. I am aware of the mirror of being an inner light, a uniqueness, sacredness inside me and others. I will try to make a sincere attempt to overcome difficulty, opposition, or discouragement in order to experience inner being in a way of a higher good and of a brighter light. I must think of imaginary people who would be willing to be friends and hope for the best for me. In my younger days, in my household for many years, I would think of those imaginary people to help me block out a sense of emptiness and sickness inside me. A noble ideal for me to aspire and strive towards is attempting to practice a code of conduct of brotherly love, tolerance, kindness, and patience. I hope it will never be too late to improve myself. I trudge through my daily life at my own pace, and I try to pursue a passion, living my life to fulfill a commitment to experience inner light and being. I want to avoid a deprivation of spirit and of inner truth. I want to have a truer perspective of how I hope to experience my life. I don't want to die within of loneliness. I want to have hope and to stay connected to people. I don't want to live in a delusional reality. Spiritual sanity is what I can try to express, and for it to be real within my soul. I want to take a risk by bringing forth the sacred within me along with a hope that a brightening spirit will come to be. I want to seek out and appreciate what is beautiful within another. I want to honor a woman's and a mother's love. I hope to bring a light and a spirit to life within me. I won't deny the terror and the ugliness that were a lot of my family life. I can use it to sense all the more acutely feelings of empathy and compassion for my fellow man and woman. I can experience the breath of life as an inspiration for being. I had a lack of awareness that in addition to experiencing life as a human being, I am also a spiritual being with a living soul. The spiritual sanity that I most want to practice is choosing light over darkness and good over evil despite difficulty or temptation. I can be an explorer, trying to uncover or discover hidden realities that are a part of my spiritual being. I can try to bring them forth into the light,
so that hopefully they will come into being inside my soul in a way of a brighter inner light and spirit. Most often, I need during the day a new beginning or a fresh start. I must give myself something to accomplish within in order to be. If I don't make an attempt, then otherwise, I will never know or experience what could have been. I can work on discovering within an unseen, never before lived life within a dimension of inner creation and being. There can truly be an unknown reality that is wonderful and incredible upon the inner landscape of my mind, imagination, and soul. It has yet to be discovered, visualized, or experienced. It can come into existence, if only I keep making the attempt one after the other.